Welcome back to the Getting a Grip podcast. Miami is finished. I'm not going to sound like depressed like I was last time when I said India and Wales was finished. What a wonderful tournament we had.
Sounded like the world had ended last week. At least have some excitement for this one, yeah.
Hey, Miami's a bit warmer, you know. That's more my kind of vibe with the climate and stuff.
A bit warmer. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know.
God.
Everyone's a bit happier, right, when it's warmer. I don't know. They should be anyway. But yeah, so yeah, we've just
Tell the
finished
polar bears.
Miami. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. But yes, so we've had just the conclusion of the tournament in the last couple of days. Yes, and some interesting battles. I mean, obviously that Alcaraz Sinner match was a joke, as it seems to be every time now. Some of there was one incredible point which everyone was obviously like sharing around and stuff. Like, one of the best points of the year. Just athleticism was just on another level. Which then I think that match then did take its toll on Sinner in the final. Like, he put up a good fight in the first set, but or are you going to say something else? Are you going to be like, no, he just bottles it every time?
No, I do think that this is the problem. This is where we talk about them being like the big rivalry that's coming up. And yeah, okay, fine. Those matches, they are high quality. But if you can't back it up with winning the tournament, I'm a little bit concerned that maybe that build's not going to quite happen. But at the same time, you never know.
And that's why I was really wanting him to win that final so that you kind of get over that hurdle, and then it's like, okay, here we go. Like, now this can like really build.
Yeah, exactly. I can dominate here. Whereas I'm a little bit worried about, mentally, does he believe he can go all the way? In which case, if he's got a match in him, great. But if he's looking serious, he has to consistently, like Alcaraz, win everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was playing really well, like in all of the matches up to that point. So,
yeah, for sure.
So he should believe that he can beat these top guys. It's just, I don't know, the occasion of a final maybe just adds a little bit to it. But yeah, so that was on the men's side, and then on the women's side, we had Rybakina going for the sunshine double, as Alcaraz was, and in the end just coming up short. Bit of a incredible tiebreak again, and then Kvitova kind of she kind of cruised a little bit in the second set to win that, and that leads me on to the first question for today.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to start it off with the same question that I asked 2 weeks ago, if you can remember what that was. So, yes, as we said, it was a bit of a marathon first set, and it went to a tiebreaker, of course. And then what I want to know is, what was the score in that tiebreak? So, your options are as follows. 12-10. So these are all in Kvitova's favour, of course. 14-12.
Be a bit rough if you gave me one that wasn't.
But I'm really going to throw him off here. 15-13 or 16-14.
I mean, I want to pretend that I need to deliberate, but I know I did watch. I actually watched the first set. I didn't watch the second set. Because I felt like I'd seen the tennis by that point, and I didn't really care who'd won.
So fickle
at that point either. No, it's one of those things where sometimes you see two players doing so well. Like, I could have said the same about the Alcaraz Sinner match. I didn't really feel like I wanted either of them to win, but I just wanted it to keep happening. But unfortunately, with Kvitova and Rybakina, however, the second set didn't quite live up to that first set. But yeah, I know it's 16-14.
And that is correct. Yes, well done. I like to put this as a banana skin question, because if
I slip on that, everything's going.
That's gonna be that's like the easiest question. Again, it's just I guess we forgot about Kvitova a little bit with like the rise of Sabalenka, and we're talking about tall ladies kind of showing athleticism, and she's another one that kind of has shown it for a while, I guess. I mean, she kind of dipped off the tour a little bit, didn't she? She obviously had that stuff with when she got was it burgled or something, and I don't know, loads of stuff happened with that. And then she's kind of like, coming back. She's making a few more consistent runs in these tournaments. So maybe,
she's always been an impressive player.
Yeah, and she seems to just win like she seems to just step up in finals.
She's got a mentality for it, which is one thing we've always praised her for, especially at Wimbledon, for example, where she's won a couple of times, which is always more than impressive. But yeah, again, like you can't count her out. She's a veteran player on the women's tour, and absolutely a good shout pretty much in any tournament.
Yeah, she's got the big game, as the other players have got the serve, the forehand. So maybe she's another one to keep tabs on, because maybe she can upset the rivalries a little bit. And I know there was like who was the other top ranked lady who's beaten some of the top players, or she's there or thereabouts, making consistent runs. I remember I read something saying that she wants to be mentioned in the bracket of the top 4 rather than there being a top 3.
Oh god, yeah.
I've forgotten who it was now, but yeah,
I've lost it now as well.
Because we just talk about Swiatek and Rybakina and Sabalenka. She's like, well, what about me, guys? It's like, well, yeah, maybe if you actually, I don't know, win the major tournaments, we might.
Well, this is it, isn't it? Yeah, it always becomes a bit of a dogfight. You want to be, but that always bothers me as well. Like, you want to be recognised, where you've got to let your actions speak louder than anything you could possibly say. Whereas if you say something that you can't back up with your actions, it's chat, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to earn it. You can't like beg for, I don't know, recognition. It's a little bit.
I'm trying to think who that was. I definitely saw that as a joke post.
Oh, it's real. It's very real.
Krejcikova, whatever.
It could be Krejcikova or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, we digress. We'll go on to question 2 now, which is another ladies' question. So, obviously, Rybakina was going for the Sunshine Double, winning Indian Wells and Miami. But what I want to know is, excluding Iga Swiatek, who was the last female player to achieve this feat? So, the options are Kim Clijsters, Steffi Graf, Victoria Azarenka, or Serena Williams. This might be the toughest of the questions, I think.
Interesting. I think pretty sure I gave you a fact about Serena doing it. So this is where I'm going towards saying it's her. In fact, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to say Serena.
You're not going to overthink it.
No, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to go with my gut feeling on that one. I think that feels right to me, because
Well, it's funny you should say that, because get a grip. It's not. It's Victoria Azarenka. Back in 2016, I think it was. Yeah, 2016. There you go.
Really?
Yeah. She was the last person to do it before Iga. So that was, a full on like 6 years difference. So it's not exactly a common occurrence. I'm not sure Serena has done it, from what I can see.
I thought she had.
So all that, like, Clijsters has done it, and Steffi Graf's done it, so that's why they were on the list. So Steffi Graf did it twice, because she's just a beast. She did it in 94 and 96, and then Kim Clijsters did it in 2005. That's a throwback. So there you go. It's not exactly the easiest thing. If Serena hasn't done it, then that shows you what a tough kind of feat it is.
2 Masters 1000s in a row. Yeah, you're not exactly getting a small draw, are you?
Yeah, and it's what you talked about last time. The fact that they're back to back makes it that bit tougher, because these events are actually like a week and a half long each, with all the qualifying as well beforehand. So you've got all the top players, and you literally have maybe a couple days off, a few days off if you win the first one, and then you're straight into action in the second one with the travel as well. So yeah, it's a pretty tough feat. But some people have managed it. I mean, Medvedev's made it to the final of both, so he's made it to the final of a lot of tournaments actually recently. And that will be a question later on.
He's won 4, by the way.
Yeah, that's not the question.
God damn it. I was hedging a bet there. So
oh, it is actually the next question.
It's not.
It's not that exact kind of phrasing.
You carry on.
But it is related to that. So we'll go straight into that one. So yes, on the men's side, obviously Medvedev's been on a bit of a roll on hard courts specifically. As we know, he is a hard court specialist.
Indeed.
He has made 5 ATP finals in 5 weeks, if we're counting like a week being a tournament, because obviously we've said it's like a week and a half.
Okay.
So 5 weeks in a row, he's made 5 finals. But what I want to know is who was the last male player to do this. So this is quite a tricky one. So your options
make
are
5 finals in 5 weeks.
Yeah. So the options are Novak Djokovic, Ivan Lendl, Roger Federer, or Andy Murray.
Oh God. See, Novak feels like a safe bet. But at the same time, there was the unstoppable period for Federer, in which anything stat-wise like that is inherently possible. And you've thrown Andy Murray in there, which makes me want to guess for him just because, Andy Murray.
I thought you'd like that one.
Yeah. It doesn't take much for me, does it? It doesn't take much. You put his name anywhere, and I'm like, ooh. But I don't know why you would put Ivan Lendl. I'm going to go with the logic of how you ask the question, because that is quite a feat. I'm going to say Ivan Lendl.
Well, that is correct. Well done.
Actually,
how have you done that? You little nerd. Yeah. So it's been a full-on 42 years since anyone's made 5 successive finals on the ATP Tour. So yeah, put some respect on Daniel's name.
Yeah.
On the hard court specialist. Yeah. So yeah, Ivan Lendl was the last person to do it in 1981. So actually, none of the big guys did it in all of their time of dominance. No.
Well, that's got to make Andy feel better, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I would have thought Murray would have maybe got to 3 or 4 in a row at one point.
Yeah.
And
that was that 2016 year where he pretty much was winning / in the final for everything. So I would say that was probably true. 3 or 4 at the very least.
Yeah, but obviously
5 is different.
Things have to align with like all the tournaments being back to back as well. So I suppose that also plays into it because
Yeah, this is it.
I don't think even maybe in the middle of their careers, like I don't think Federer would have been playing 5 weeks in a row that often. Even then, I think he was already almost managing it a little bit, like taking the odd week off here or there. So that plays into it as well. I don't know about Nadal. Nadal probably would have just like beasted through all of it, especially when he was like 19 or 20. But yeah, it kind of shows you, one, how difficult it is, but 2, like, the fact that I don't think a lot of these players are going to be playing all those tournaments back to back anyway. I think especially now, like coaching teams probably be looking at thinking, what's the chances of picking up an injury somewhere along the line here if we do well in a lot of these tournaments, and what are the repercussions down the line? So a combination of those things. And when you look at the list, there's 5 players that have done it. Obviously, Lendl was the next one. Then it was Guillermo Vilas in 77, Arthur Ashe in 76, Stan Smith in 73. So that kind of shows you it's just not a thing that is done in modern
No.
times. So yeah, hats off to Daniil. But he's going to be onto the clay court soon. How is he going to cope with that? As Sinner said in his post-match interview,
Yeah.
looking forward to playing on the clay. That's the next challenge for him. I don't know. Do we see him being able to adapt his game a little bit for that? I mean, he does kind of play deeper behind the baseline anyway. I don't know what do
Yeah.
you feel is
I
his
think
limitations there?
the problem for Medvedev is that he plays deeper, and on the clay it's inevitably harder to get forward. Like he's got a pair of levers on him to get to a ball, but if you drop shot on the clay, getting to that is very different to drop shotting on a hard court, for example, because you can't get enough behind you in order to get forward. So if you play that deep, it's quite hard.
There we go. Yeah, he'll. I feel like he needs. I don't know. He can hit through players, but I think he just doesn't have quite the same ability to do that as like Alcaraz or Nadal or. I mean, I guess Djokovic doesn't hit. I think Djokovic does hit through players, like especially the way he played at the Aussie Open. Yeah, I don't know. It's just ability to like finish points as well. Like coming to the net and finishing points, he's not the strongest at either. So it just turns into a slugfest basically. But there you go. Hard courts, he's definitely fine on those. Just needs to adapt his game a little bit. All right. So what are we on? We're on two from three. Yeah, 2 from 3. All right. So as we talked about before, we have this rivalry developing. Obviously, we want it to go to levels where Sinner's winning tournaments as well. But yes, he did defeat Alcaraz in their last match. But what I want to know is, in this rivalry, what is the head-to-head record so far? So, your options are 3-2. I'm done. Didn't even let me give the options.
Go on, you finish answering. You finish asking the question.
Well, I don't know if I want to now. I thought this one might be a little bit difficult, actually.
Oh, that's nice.
3-2 Alcaraz, 4-2 Alcaraz, 3-2 Sinner, 3-all.
Yeah, 3-all.
Well, actually, you haven't counted the time when they were 17 years old and they played in the backyard.
It's only on the ATP tour, yeah.
You're counting backyard tennis as well now, so I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, 3-all, because it was 3-2 Alcaraz before this match, and then obviously Sinner's leveled it again, which, again, that's why we want this to be a great rivalry, because of the way it started. It started off being close and tight, just like the early days with Federer and Nadal, where, Federer maybe won the first 3, but then Nadal put in a good run, sort of thing. So it's exciting.
Well, I think Federer lost the first match against Nadal in
was
Miami.
It the first? Yeah, maybe. I wasn't saying it like I knew it. It was just sort of, there was a trend that kept switching back and forth.
So 3-all is of course correct. Interestingly, although Sinner hasn't beaten him I don't think he's beaten him in a final. Oh no, he has. Maybe he's beaten him in one final on the clay. He's beaten him on all 3 surfaces at least. So he's beaten him obviously on the hard court. So he beat him at Wimbledon on the grass, and then he beat him in, I think it might have been Germany, on the clay courts. So, he's got the ability on all the surfaces. As we talk about that of Alcaraz as well. I mean, he needs to develop his game a little bit on the grass. Maybe just because of his like big wind up on shots and stuff. So it's just a case of, like we said before, getting over the line in bigger matches, whether that's against Alcaraz or any other top player. That's kind of like the final little step for him, because when you look at the rankings as well, like Alcaraz he was number 1, he's not now, but Sinner was like number 10 or something, and I was like, wait, what? How is he? That's for a guy who can play like this higher level tennis as almost anyone on the tour. Like that's a tiny bit concerning. And just shows
it also demonstrates how tight that top 10, top 15 is, because they share the points out quite broadly. But it also makes a difference. Like if you're not winning the final, You're losing half the points for tournament. That's so important. So, Sinner will definitely be kicking himself against Medvedev.
That was the second final he lost against Medvedev as well in
Mm.
this run that Medvedev's been on. Interestingly, yeah, I guess it's also maybe there's a little bit of conditioning work or something he needs to do there as well if he's getting a little bit
Yeah.
tired towards the end of these tournaments. Anyway, it's still an exciting rivalry. We just want him to, take one of those big titles, and then we're really underway. Okay, so that leads us on to the final question. You're probably going to know the answer to this before I even give the answers again, but we'll do it anyway. So on the doubles side, we had the pairing of Gonzalez and Roger Vasselin, if I've said that correctly, winning the Miami title. But what I want to know is, together, how many Masters titles have they won before they just won Miami? Was it 0, 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, that is a good question.
Oh, is it?
I actually thought you were going to ask a question about the women's doubles final, and about the fact that 3 of them were Americans and 1 was a Canadian or something like that. I thought it was going to be something sort of.
Never satisfied.
No, I never am. I never am. Interesting. Okay. I don't feel like these two have paired up before, or very often. I could be entirely wrong here, but my answer is going to be 0 based on a feeling. But then again, my coverage of doubles isn't as good as, say, the singles, for example. So, yeah, I'm going to say 0.
Final answer?
Yeah, final answer, because I've got no other information to base this off.
You are correct. Yes, well done. Yes, so this was the first time they won a Masters title together. They have actually won Masters titles with other partners in the past.
Yeah, I know that. I know they're solid players.
Yeah, I think Roger Vasselin won Cincy and maybe like 5-6 years ago or something. And I think Gonzalez, he won. I can't remember which Masters title it was in the last few years. But yeah, I guess it is an unusual matchup. I've not heard their names together before. Even like their opponents, I don't know, as Mahu and how do you say it? Krajicek? Have they played much together? Normally Mahu plays with another French guy, I feel like Humbert or someone like that. So
I don't think they have played much together. But again, you got to look at, for example, you got to look at Nicolas Mahut. Like, he is one of the greatest all-time doubles players. But he is a veteran. He is in the older side of things now. Who he pairs with, again, you don't know how these decisions are made sometimes, but it might not always be his most favorite choice to begin with.
Yeah, and interestingly, actually, with these two, Gonzalez and Roger Vasselin, they did play a bit together last year, but they kept getting to like semi-finals or like getting to a final and losing. So like this was like a big step for them. Yeah, it's a bit unusual to have. You had 2 French players against each other, and a Mexican and a Frenchman together, and an American and a Frenchman together. So it just shows you, like, if you're a seasoned pro in the doubles, like, you can pick up pretty quickly with whoever you partner with once you get a basic understanding of the tactics.
Sure. Fundamentally, it's a much simpler game, doubles. So you're not really trying. Singles sometimes can be like talking a completely different language. It's a different sport, really. But doubles, everyone's on the same page. It's just who does it better that day. It's just who dominates the consistency and dropping things on a 50p coin.
Yeah, hitting those, the corners with your serves, and and being solid at the net, which they all are pretty much. But it's always they're always pretty tight sets and stuff. Like this one was 7-6, 7-5. So there's hardly anything between it. You get a break of serve, that's like gold dust normally at that top level. Whereas maybe when we're playing, it's there might be the odd more break during a set or whatever, because we just haven't got the consistency that these guys have got. But yeah, there you go. So first Masters title for them. Maybe there's a pair to look out for if they stick together in the coming
for sure
coming months. And yeah, 4 out of 5 again. I thought I was going to catch you out with a couple more there, but it was only the sunshine doubles question that caught you out. Like 4 out of 5 for you is poor, isn't it? For me, that's like
it's all right.
Good
it's
week.
all right. I can cope with it.
Yeah.
I shan't lose any sleep.
Are there any other standout points for you across the last week or two of Miami?
I mean, not standout talking points, but I'll give that Sinner Alcaraz rally another shout out because it was one of the best points. Yeah, I do. It's one of the best points I've seen all year. I think it's one of the best points I've seen probably ever. Sometimes when you look at a point, you just get this sense of like this should be over, and that point could have ended maybe 10 times separately. So they did incredible to do that. Like sometimes, also I wonder these days, like our wrists, like how their wrists not breaking for some of the shots that they're getting back. Honestly, that the speed that they have to whip it at to get that back to the depth that they get it back as well. That's the thing that impresses me the most these days, actually, is that all of these top, say, 10, 15 players, there's such a nice, or even more, it's not just about getting the ball back, it's getting the ball back deep that they do so well.
Yeah. It's incredible. We'll hear much more about it, I'm sure, in the future. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on Miami and what your standout moments were. And obviously on your podcast platforms, give us a follow. And on YouTube, like it, share it around and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.